all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil where it produced a crop, 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. What does this have to do with your life today? What does a correct assessment look like for you? You know, you could go through different things, and many times it seems like that thing that possibly you're struggling with is a thing that many times defines our life. A few weeks ago, had the opportunity of riding in a combine. A combine is one of those big tractors, very expensive, I found out. But the farmer that we have a relationship with, that part of the church, that it was harvest time. I text him and I said, you know, I've been seeing the crops sit there, the corn. I said, are you going to harvest this? And he says, you know, I'm going to do it tomorrow. He says, would you like to ride with me? So I met him at the field. There was 2 separate parcels. Go ahead, you could throw it up there. 2 separate parcels. This is a parcel, and this is a parcel. This is the larger parcel. When we first did this here, it was high up there, and it was really a great experience. We got done with that parcel, then we came over here, and the smaller parcel, closer to the highway, I started seeing some corn that didn't look the best. Matter of fact, there was a patch there that looked skimpy. I started to almost apologize to the farmer because being part of the landowner of this crop, I felt a little bad that maybe it should have been better. I thought of that for a moment. You know, our life, you might have gone through a season in your life. You could go back, put the scriptures back there. Maybe you went through a relationship breakup or something that, a job that didn't work out as long as you would like. Maybe something happened in your life. It would be easy for you to define your life by that thing that happened or went wrong. When I looked at, oh, now I'm sorry, I should have left it up there, I'm sorry. When I looked at that, should I define the harvest for this particular spot? As a matter of fact, I asked him, I said, when I was apologizing a little bit for that area, even though he's the one that planted all the crop and now he was harvesting it, we split it between 3 different churches. We're one of the churches. All the proceeds, and a Lutheran church and a community church in this area. So, but when I was looking at that, I was thinking that we can't define the whole harvest by a certain section that didn't look good. You can't define your life by something that maybe went wrong. Why am I talking about this? We're talking about a correct assessment. Because the enemy many times tries to discourage God's people. The enemy many times tries to keep you down and tries to somehow degrade you, to get you to think, Amanda, to get you to think that maybe this is your life. But right when we were done there. There's they're pretty technology-wise. They really got it together. They got satellite in those big combines. It tells you where to go. The farmer could just sit there and basically do very little. I don't want to say that. Maybe if he's watching, I'm going to get in trouble. But but it would be easy to define this. But I started asking him, what happened here? He said, well, I think this is a low spot that a lot of water came there, and that washes the seed away. Where are you at in your life that maybe something went wrong? Go back for a moment. It says here that a farmer went out to sow his seed. You went out to live your life, maybe at an early age, maybe a relationship. It says here that the first thing, that the scattering of seed fell along the path and the birds came and ate it up. There's 4 things that define this person's life. I want you possibly to think about the things that you've gone through. It says here that the birds came and ate it up, and basically it was lost. Some of us in this room know how it is to have something taken away from us. You lost something. It was going good for a while. Then all of a sudden, it seems like it slipped through your hands. We're talking about having a correct assessment. As I look at here, 3 kind of bad things happened, but 1 good thing happened. Here's my thought to us today. With God, God can make all the things that maybe went wrong in your life, and 1 good thing that happened, it could overshadow all the other things. What am I saying? We're talking about having a correct assessment. This is the weekend 5 years ago, yesterday, where John David had the chainsaw accident. It was right over here. I guess you got a slide. I wanted to be a little visual today, so I had man to throw those up. It was 5 years ago yesterday. Kind of a similar Saturday, though it was a little more hazy, a little colder. I remember it well. I knew that I had to get time in to study for Saturday, but I wanted to cut a few branches. One was hanging over. I didn't get to it during the week. And John David was around now to help. And Amanda, you were there. Sue was there. It was right along. There used to be a lot of trees around here, maybe 100. Scrawny looking trees, and some bigger ones. But what turned out to be a Saturday was a devastating thing. From then on, it seemed like for the next several years, our lives changed a little bit. John David went through 2 other surgeries. To this day, even suffers from the scarage and the lack of mobility and maybe 3 fingers on each hand. Had arteries and different things, transplants. They didn't work out. It was a tough road. Now, it would be easy for me, being the one that had the chainsaw in the hand, to define his life and different things and say that this is what it is. But then I thought of it. 5 years later, sure, he still suffers in some way, but he's a good young boy with a good future. He has much going for him, just finishing his last year of college. Now, why am I using these illustrations? Because of your life. Maybe you went through a setback. We're talking about what God's doing in your life. In this parable, 3 things happened. First, things were stolen from this person, taken away. You know what it is to have things taken from you. You cherished them, you liked them, and it seems like they vanished. This is a parable where Jesus was teaching his followers. And I think he wanted them to have a good understanding that everything's not going to always work out the way you thought. Everything's not going to go the way you thought. As a matter of fact, may I say, usually life doesn't go the way you would like all the times. But it doesn't mean that good things still aren't there. What happened at the end was, he talks about the last one. He says, other seed fell. Your life on good soil and it produced a crop. 3 things kind of identified the person's life. They had something taken from them too soon. They had something that didn't last. It was temporary. Where do you get that? It says here that they came and ate it up. It was a temporary thing. They thought the job was going to last longer. They thought that thing in their life was going to be a stretch longer, but it didn't last. So we're talking about things that were taken away, things that didn't last. And the other thing is things that grew up quickly and they were choked out. Bad things that happened. But here's my thought to us today. Can you look at your life and be thankful for where it's at? Can somehow you say, okay, I've had some things that didn't work out. As a matter of fact, I wish that things would be a little different at times, but I'm thankful that I have God in my life, that He's still working in my life. I wish some things didn't happen. I wish I didn't have some things taken away from me. I wish some things would have lasted a little longer. I wish some bad things didn't happen, where it came up and scorched and withered and it choked the plants. I wish that didn't happen. I wish that maybe my life could have gone a little better. But I'm here today in the house of God saying, Lord, thank you for bringing me a long ways. I'm here to say to you, Lord, that though I've had a lot of things come against me, you've been there all along. You've been faithful. And all the things that have gone wrong, the thing that produced a crop overshadows and makes it all good. What I'm here to tell you today is God is a faithful God. And all those things that you went about your life that you don't like, that have went wrong, there is something that's going right with you. There is something still eternal that's burning within you. Jesus lives within you. And at the end of the day, that thing wins the day. And that thing will overshadow all the other things. This last week, we did some work at the housing ministry close to where the farmland is. I hope it's going to be maybe one more week because can't keep up with that schedule, crawling underneath those homes and things. We're doing some maintenance work, those kinds of things. But when we got down there, and Sue and we made a list of things we had to get done. I thought, it was after the women's Bible study, I think we got down there late Tuesday evening. I thought that maybe every day I had to get so much done. Found the first day I was, a little tired, got going a little later and I only got so much done. Then the next day, not too bad. Here's what I want to say. It would be easy for you to define your week. It would be easy to define the journey you're on. And you would like things, to go better. Here's what I'm asking you. Did you know that God can do something in your life this week that could take the place of all the sadness that you've had? All the things that went wrong in your life, that God can somehow turn things around. Listen, it takes one touch of the grace of God in your life to turn everything around. What I'm saying, at the end of the week, though, I knew the schedule wasn't perfect, at the end of the week, Sue and I, as we started driving home late Friday night, I said, we started going over the list. We got a lot done. And this is just a simple illustration to help you. Don't look at your life in a picture of something that didn't go right. Don't look at your life as something it didn't get done all the way. You got to look at it in the seasons that God brings you through. When in this illustration, through the week, I could say that though we didn't plan on, we found a good roofer. We finished 2 roofs in 2 days. Completely tore them off and got it. What I'm getting at is, in looking at it in hindsight, we got a lot done. What I'm saying to you in that illustration is, I don't know how your weeks go. I don't know the season you're in right now. But don't judge it too soon. Don't judge it because a relationship slipped through your hands, or a health scare, or something, and you're looking at your life and you're saying, I don't know where God is. I don't know what's going on. No, my brother, my sister, you got to look at it in the totality of it all. And at the end of the day, there is something working in your life, and God wanted you to hear it. He said, he that have ears to hear, let him hear. Now I'm interpreting this. This is a parable that Jesus was teaching. He was teaching about things that worked and things that didn't work. Things that, that were good, and some things that were bad. I don't know about you, but I do know if you've lived life at all, you're going to have a lot of things come against you in a span of a lifetime. If you live life at all, you're going to have health problems eventually. Possibly, you're going to have relationship issues. You're going to have things that you wish that didn't go wrong. You say, Pastor, now you're really discouraging. No, I'm not. I'm saying within the span of life, there's things that happen. Now, this is an illustration, and he started to talk about them. And we see that the first 3 things were things that we don't like in life. We don't like something to be taken from us, something to be stolen from us. We don't like something to not last so long. I just wish it could have kept on going that way. Those days were good. I don't wish that, that those bad things that happened, it choked the plants. Do I wish that John David have that? When I see his scar reach, and sometimes when he's trying to have a hammer and he has 2 fingers and he can't do it quite the way I could, it makes me feel bad. But then I got to look at his life and say, okay, but God's using him, and he's a good boy, and he has a good future ahead of him. Maybe the producing of a crop, listen, here's what I like, 160 or 30 times what was sown. So what I'm saying to you is that what God is doing in your life is greater by much more percentage to the believer like you, to one that has come to the house of God to worship him. There is 100 things going right. There is 60 or 30 times what was sown. And that's going to overshadow all the tears, all the pain, all the things that you don't like about your life. I'm here to tell you that there's something good going on in your life. Now, you can look at it 2 different ways. I've been around this for a while now, pastored several different churches and different things, and I've seen people from a distance and pastoring them. What I've seen is there's people that grow bitter because of the things that happen to them in life. And do not tell me that they don't happen. Come on, my brother, my sister, things happen in life. Just like that. Oh, I'm thinking, sorry, forgive me now, when that runner, what's that movie? And he puts it on here, and he, what's that movie? Oh, I can't say. Oh, things happen. I got to stop there now. What's that movie? You don't know? No, forget you. Huh? No, it was that runner, that. Do you know the movie? You don't know that movie? Come on. Now I'm mad. If John Day was here, he would tell me that movie. Okay, here we go. But the thing is that there's still good things. Now, where was I before you interrupted me, Amanda? Where was I? You weren't even listening? You just want to get back to school, huh? Okay, here we go. But all I know is that produced a crop that was 160. And what I'm saying to you is, you need to center on the things that God is doing in your life. One time I said to my dad, don't take this the wrong way, I don't remember him really encouraging me much throughout. We've been a little tense, you know, and my parents got divorced, that kind of thing. But good mom and dad. My mom went to be with the Lord. But I remember saying to him once, talking on the phone, saying, you know, all the things that I did wrong, thinking one time, you know, an investment I made that didn't work out, and I was kind of in one of those moods saying all the bad things. Here's what he said in reply. He said, yeah, but what about all those good things that happened? Those good investments you made and those good decisions you made. I thought about that. I was saying, man, I'm glad he encouraged me. Wish I could hear this more often. Maybe that's a note to us fathers that we should encourage our children. It goes a long way. That's why I feel bad about the Packer thing that I said coming through. But here's what I want to say. I don't know where you're at or what's going on. In my closing thought to you, I don't know what you've been through in life, but I do know this. Life throws a lot at us. There's things we go through. There's things that we deal with on a weekly basis. There's some good weeks, and there's some not so good weeks. There's things that happen. Who would have thought on that Saturday at 10:30, Sue, go get that chainsaw, rent it at Home Depot. You go rent that, then I'll start getting going here. An hour later, blood everywhere. Things and ambulances, police cars, and surgeries that evening to try to save his armage. Who would have thought? What I'm saying is you got a lot of things that come your way. I'm asking you to, oh, here was my illustration. There we go. I interrupted myself. You can grow bitter through the things that happen. Boy, I've seen older people grow sweet too. I hope John David doesn't grow bitter. As a matter of fact, I did say to him once, a few years after, I said, hey man, I'm sorry if I did anything this. He says, come on. He goes, things happen in life. Man, that made me feel good. The illustration I was getting for at a distance looking at people's lives. I could think of some people that grow old, that grew bitter and started to resent things in life, resent the church, resent people, resent things going on. But I've also seen some sweet elderly people that had an inner joy. Things hit both of them the same. One is not, we all have things, but they allowed the goodness of God and they grew with God, and they didn't look at life as something that happened to them. They looked at life as something that happened for them. I think we're living in a day where it's always someone else, and we're always pointing the finger. The best thing we could do is look at our lives. We need to humble ourselves and let God lift us up. Okay, there's a thought for you and I. In talking about a correct assessment, can you have a correct assessment of what's going on in your life? Don't have a skewed assessment that it's all wrong or something. My last illustration. We were raised in the bakery trade. My dad owned bakeries. We went along from Iowa all the way up to Chicago. Whenever the business didn't do good, he'd fold up and go another hour or two this way because there was more money towards the Chicago area. Iowa, only so much. I don't know the makeup of all that, but at least that's the way he found it. But I remember every January growing up, and we would all some of us kids would be working from literally from almost being born, doing something. But I remember those times, and every January I hear my parents talk. It would seem like January, even going into February, where they thought they were always going to go out of business. Something was wrong because those were tough times after Christmas. Maybe people weren't into the sweets and all that as much. But they got through it every time. And now brothers have different bakeries throughout Illinois. But you know, those were just moments. But it would have been so easy to let those define you. What I'm saying to you, don't allow something that has happened or a period to define you. Don't let something, you know, somehow to steal your joy. Look at it and say, hey, I'm in this for the long haul. God's been faithful. No matter what comes my way, the goodness of God at the end of the day is going to see me through. And that's what happened here. It produced the crop. Keep your eyes on the prize, on the goodness of God in your life. Because I'm telling you, when you do that, God can use you more. You're a happier person. You're a better person to be around. And let me tell you something, more has a way